Welcome to a community conversation. I'm Robert Hansen. I'm a officer of the board at Nutrition Security Solutions, or NSS. I'm here with Sandy Copps, who is a nutrition scientist and the president of the board at NSS. We're going to be talking about food waste and how Nutrition Security Solutions deals with food waste while also tackling the problem of malnutrition. Why is food waste a problem?
Well, there's like 900 billion tons of food waste throughout the food production system. And we're at the tail end as a food pantry. We're working with donated food and what's left over at the grocery stores that they donate to, and the government gives to food banks. We have to be cautious about how people that we're giving the food to are using that food, because it's very dear. Food is becoming very, very scarce now.
I know, and I've heard some statistic that quite a large portion of food is wasted, like 30 to 50%, even under normal circumstances. So this is a problem.
Mostly in the home.
Yes, and I know also, in my spare time, I am a chemist, and I also know that food waste, a lot of it goes into landfill, and that contributes greenhouse gases, which are also a problem.
Right. We all have to begin to think about the whole food system and how we can eliminate certain things. I know like a lot of it happens at the farm. During harvest, there's a lot of vegetables left in the farm after they go through with their harvesting machines, and it just lays there in the field. And these food products are just fine.
Yeah.
But back in medieval times, the feudal lords would let the peasants come in and have pictures of the gleaners, and they'd go in and they'd get food. They subsisted on this. But it doesn't seem to be a big part of our farm system right now. We are really relying on what we see at the grocery stores. The regional food banks get food from the government, and large grocery store operations. These are food that would be wasted because they're past the best buy date. If they were on the store shelf, they'd be passed by. Mm-hmm. So in order to conserve it, they're giving it to the food banks. Now, right. Food safety and the definition of healthy foods is making us pay more attention to those best use by dates.
Absolutely.
And NSS is a healthy food pantry. We try to give people not only healthy food, but food that we help them get food that they may not get from other pantries if they have special dietary concerns or allergies, that kind of thing.
I know NSS stocks special food. Examples that we were talking about were quinoa, almond milk, food items that are not easily accessible at most food pantries, but can be very important to people on restricted diets or who have certain needs in terms of nutrition and health conditions and all of that.
When they start on our pantry, they can say, well, I want a sugar-free diet. Mm-hmm. So their shopping list will only see sugar-free foods. It's an online pre-ordering system, so they get a package that's customized based on their selections on a shopping screen on a computer. The package is assembled and delivered to them.
It addresses another issue with food that can happen with food aid. There's a lot of great food banks out there and food pantries that are doing great work. It's difficult for those organizations sometimes to cater to these specific needs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but oftentimes, some food pantries will just give a food parcel, various things that
100 bags of the same thing,
based on their availability or what they think is nutritious. I mean, their heart's in the right place, definitely good, but there's sometimes some things in those food, I call them food parcels, they're what some of these places give out, that they're perfectly nutritious food, there may not be food that's suitable for the diets of the recipients or things that they can use.
Or they have allergies to.
Or they have allergies to it.
Yeah.
I remember I was in a major city in the UK, and I kind of had a hand in delivering food parcels, and I was living with individuals who were getting food aid. A lot of the food got rejected. They either didn't like it or couldn't use it because they didn't have a stove to heat it up, or again, as you mentioned, they had food allergies or health conditions, which meant that they could not eat the food.
The economy is so bad. People have to pay so much for rent, and affordable housing is so limited, they can't afford to go to the grocery stores. So they are shopping pantries for what pantries are offering. They're discarding what they're getting from this large scope of shopping through pantries. And they have the right to go to any pantry because every pantry is regarded as supplemental.
I don't mean to disparage the wonderful work that they're doing. The food pantries are doing great work, and feeding the community is a very noble cause. But this is a side of this equation that often people don't quite understand.
Well, here's the thing, Robert. It's there are pantries now that are set up with something called SWAP, Support Wellness at Pantries, and everything is color coded.
Yeah.
Our shopping screens are
Yeah.
color coded too. For green for good, go with it all the time. Yellow sometimes, and red, don't do it so much.
Yeah.
That's good for people that can get there.
Yeah.
And our population tends to be people that have mobility issues and they can't get there.
Yeah.
They can't carry large amounts of food back to their house or back to their apartment, whatever. And so we are also a delivery service, and mostly our customers are elderly who, as they get older, they develop lactose intolerance and more sensitivity. They develop IBD problems, and so they have their physiological system changes, so they have to change their diet.
Absolutely. That you mentioned delivery. The food delivery started with NSS during the pandemic. NSS moved to that model.
We moved into custom pre-ordered deliveries. We found a software package that we modified for special diets. So we are onboarded with that. The shoppers get so many points every 2 weeks. We provide food every 2 weeks, whereas most pantries only can help once a month.
Yeah.
But we feel because people have special needs, we try to do it every other week. And so we've been able to do that right now. But we don't know, with the cost of food and the scarcity of certain food items, whether we may have to go to once a month.
Yeah.
So that's why we need donations, not only of food, but money to buy the special foods.
Yeah.
Quinoa is $4.50 a bag.
Yeah, that's pretty expensive, and I know inflation has really affected food prices significantly, especially in the past several years.
Yeah, there was an interview with the officer of the Federal Reserve, and he said that dairy will be so inflated this summer.
Yeah.
And it's like eggs and milk and cheese. It's just, the prices are, we were handing out a 6-egg carton of eggs last year for $1. It cost us $1 to do it. This year it's costing us $2
Wow.
for the same size, the same quality, and it's real.
It's definitely a challenge to keep our freezers and refrigerators and warehouses stocked with high quality food, given the inflation that we've been seeing in recent years with regard to food prices.
Right. We are a warehouse-based operation. So we are able to buy food at the best pricing opportunities and give it out based on nutrition. We don't have to give out all the fish, all the chicken, we don't have to do it all at once. We can spread it out so that it lasts longer than a regular pantry who just gets everything they have and hands it out.
And we have the facilities to do it, the warehouse, as you mentioned, but we also, follow best practices with regard to food safety and food storage. So not only are we able to buy the food at the best price, but we can store it for a certain period of time safely.
Yeah, as you and I as scientists,
Yeah.
me as a nutrition professional,
Yeah.
I am a registered dietitian. I have those initials behind my name. Food safety is a big thing.
Absolutely.
People have to trust us, how we're handling food, and how we handle what they call temperature control foods.
Yes.
Things that you have to keep refrigerated at a certain temperature, like milk. It has to be between 33 and 42 from the time you take it out of your cooler until you give it to your people that are ordering it.
Chicken is also can also be problematic.
Oh, yeah. Salmonella. Yeah, you have to be careful, like handing out frozen items.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with your population, the amount of space they have in the refrigerator
Right.
to defrost under refrigeration. That becomes a problem like at Thanksgiving time. You may, for certain populations, not want to hand out turkeys. You may want to hand out chickens.
Yeah.
If they're in a complex where the refrigeration is very small. There's all kinds of decisions you have to make when you're offering items for a specialized food pantry.
Absolutely. Yeah, we of course supply the food, but there's also a little bit of an educational component on
Oh, yeah,
how to use the
definitely.
foods.
I work with some volunteers. I have one volunteer now that I want to work with, going through our shelves and seeing items that we have a lot of and are very close to reaching their best use by date, and she'll go out and try to develop recipes that we can put together into meal kits, especially for families.
Yeah.
Now, this was very popular long before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We were at a dinner down in New York at some relatives, and the woman that was close to my husband's family said, "Oh, I've discovered this wonderful service.
Yeah.
Like if you want to make stew, you order the stew package, and it arrives with everything you need to make stew." So people were doing this because people were working and they didn't have time to shop for all the items to make sure they had everything.
Absolutely.
But we can do that too. And we can suggest things that we don't have that they go and buy with their SNAP benefits. And so, yeah, there's a little home economics involved with this.
Absolutely. That's helpful too, because I know one problem that can happen with, giving people this nutritious food, they may not know what to do with it, or may not know what to do with some of the items. So having that educational component, those recipes, can help ensure the food gets used and not wasted.
Right. Seminars. I do seminars at sites where we have intake, where people come in. It's like a kiosk where they come in and they can place their orders. Well, I can be there and I can have a little mini seminar.
Yeah.
I did one on, this is the year of the bean, because we're not going to be able to hand out as much meat as people are used to eating because of the greenhouse gas issue and the climate issue. People are going to have to change their eating patterns.
Absolutely. That's the great part about having a system in place like this. We can cater to that and encourage the people we serve to maybe pick some of those more climate-friendly foods. Their specialized diets are a thing now, right? Vegan, keto, and all of that.
So it's important to have those items.
Absolutely.
But they tend to be pricey.
Yeah.
And so I do work with vendors to try to get those kind of foods at lower costs than what I could get with going to vendors directly.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
I go through a middleman, I may get a better price. So I really work on procurement very hard. So it's all very interesting how it all comes together.
Absolutely, and bringing a lot of these tools and these concepts into the food pantry space. Of course, could use more donations to be able to buy food, but we could also use help, right?
Oh, volunteers are so essential right now because, when we started this e-commerce software system, We did pay a lot of money for staff to get it going. But now we have it pretty down pat that we are now getting volunteers who can help place orders by phone if people need help, and also do tutoring at these sites where people want to walk in and place
Absolutely.
orders. We can set up any number of satellite sites out of the warehouse. It's a common warehouse that serves any satellite. We're starting with a site that has up to like 40 people to start. That could be individuals or individuals within families. So they are responsible for getting the orders. They come into our warehouse by the internet. We package it up and send it back for them to deliver.
Yeah. We also need people to help
Yeah,
with deliveries.
yeah.
As we get, expand more areas, we have a van and facilities to do that, but as we serve more people, we're going to need more volunteers to help deliver. And of course, take orders. There's all kinds of roles.
Working with the elderly, when they get their food delivery, they really want to socialize. They want to talk to our delivery people. It's not just dropping the box. It's how's it going? What do you like? Whatever you like.
Absolutely.
There's a social aspect to it.
Another problem we've talked about: food waste, malnutrition, the need for specialized diets, but loneliness is in the mix too.
It's an interesting time to be someone grounded in nutrition sciences.
Yeah.
Well, nutrition has changed a lot. When I first started my nutrition studies, there were 13 vitamins and minerals. It was all single nutrient nutrition. Well, now they've realized there's so many factors, nutrition factors, unclassified.
Yeah.
They began to realize, there were polyphenols and things. Those have been defined, but other things that haven't been.
Oh yeah.
And so it's gotten into the whole food aspect because you take care of all the unknowns. It's a very interesting time, the interaction between the gut microbiome and how that plays into personal nutrition and cognitive function, exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. And such, specialized knowledge and specialized needs demand a specialized system, especially if we want to also help those who are facing malnutrition.
Right. There are a lot of elderly at every economic level that suffer from malnutrition. I think we work with poverty level elderly, which have suffered from health issues all their lives. Food equity is important. Food justice is
Absolutely.
another big thing.
There are a lot of other things that can interface with the work we're doing at NSS.
We put out a monthly newsletter, which we talk about some of these things.
Yeah.
So we hope people sign up for it, and it's by email. And I think, Robert, we've sort of talked about a lot of things.
Yes.
So I think we should sign off and let people think about what we've talked about.
Absolutely.
And it's been wonderful to be here at Community Conversations here in Wallingford, where there is a lot of need.
Absolutely.
There's no end to need.
No. And need is everywhere.
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us in this community conversation.